So this is week 11 of presentations, and my questions for this week are: how has the idea of free education affected the way I learn? How should the idea of free education affect the way I teach my students? And lastly, is it a completely positive thing to have free education, or are there some negative things as well? And that one got a lot of answers on the discussion board. So, in my sources, I have Thomas Jefferson, who taught, who promoted the idea of general education, and Horace Mann, who also forwarded that, in fact, kind of put it into motion, and Mary Antin, who benefited from that free education. And I also have my fellow students on the discussion board who each contributed to answering these questions. So first off, we have the negative aspects of free education. And Sophie says that teachers aren't paid as well, and you can kind of see that. There were a few years ago we had budget cuts in my high school and middle school, so the teachers weren't paid as well, and sometimes that did affect the way we learned. We didn't have the experiences that we would have had otherwise if there wasn't that money shortage. And the quality of education does go down when you don't have the resources to benefit the students. And big one, it is taken for granted. Almost everybody said that. It is taken for granted. We don't recognize what we have as Americans, that we have this gift of free education. Nicole and Scarlett said that as college students, we focus more on our education because we're more invested, literally. We have to pay to get to learn, and it's not cheap at all. Mary Antin says that she saw these kids who were sent off by their parents. It was just a way to get rid of the kids, so you send the rotten kids to school to get out of the parents' hair. And kind of have a quantity over quality idea sometimes. That everybody has an education, but how well are you educated is the question. And not to say that American education is bad, it's just sometimes we have this thought process. But we certainly have some good things in our learning. Not all countries have this. Lexi says this, and Amber compares how lucky we are to Pakistan, and I took that class as well. It was very good. And if there's any way to help you appreciate the education you have, it is to learn about other countries that don't have our opportunities. And free education allows everybody to learn. The poor people, as Sophie says, her family probably wouldn't have learned, and my family, I probably wouldn't be here if I didn't have a free education in the first place. And many people said it is a right, and it is a gift, it is valuable, and we should recognize that. And lastly, Thomas Jefferson and Horace Mann saw how it could benefit society, and it has. We are very learned, and we not only are we more educated, we are more accepting of others in our education, and that is a very positive thing in free education.